If you're considering a pool enclosure, there's probably some questions that you have before purchasing. What we're going to do is try to answer some of those common questions, but also give you contact information at the end where you can get a hold of us if you're considering a pool enclosure, not just for Louisiana, but also Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. First of all, some of the advantages of a pool enclosure, you probably already know this since you're looking into it, but especially in the South, that allows you to get more enjoyment out of your pool by keeping all of those bugs that seem to always linger around the pools, mosquitoes and other pesky bugs away. Also, just debris, leaves and any other debris. Instead of having to constantly sweep out your pool, the enclosure keeps those out, meaning less maintenance and just more time for you to enjoy your pool. Also, if you have a hardwood pool enclosure with a retractable roof or with windows, during the summer, you can simply just keep the windows open, retract the roof, and enjoy the pool just as you would any other time. When the weather starts to turn cooler, you can close it up. Initially in the fall, keep the windows open, close the top so that you don't get the leaves blowing down. But the solid enclosure, even into the heart of the winter, will keep it much cooler. With the sun in there, it acts as a greenhouse effect. And so it can actually increase the air temperature about 18 to 36 degrees Fahrenheit when it's fully closed. And that's even on cloudy days. Sun beams still get through. So that prolongs the amount of time that you'll be able to enjoy your pool. Now, how long will your pool enclosure last? They last pretty long. The average length of time is about 20 years. As long as it's well designed from the beginning, it uses high quality materials, then everything should last about 20 years. The one weak point is the screens, if you have a screen enclosure. Due to some recent regulations, there's no longer, and you don't want that, there's no longer lead in the strands, and so the screens themselves don't last as long. You will have to do a rescreening to achieve that 20-year lifespan. Let's talk about the different types of pool enclosures. Basically, they fall into two different categories. You have the screened pool enclosures and then the solid pool enclosures. You can see a couple of examples here, and it depends on the need and your location as to what type of enclosure you may want to pursue. Here's a picture of a typical screened enclosure. They are generally for keeping the bugs, insects, leaves, other debris out of the pool to allow you to enjoy the pool more. They do have a solid aluminum frame, however, so they are strong with the mesh screens that make up both the walls and the roof. They're less expensive, and again, they allow you to enjoy your pool for a longer period of time. The thing with the screen enclosures, as I mentioned, is you'll have to rescreen it about probably every 8 to 10 years. Solid enclosures, as pictured here, are much sturdier. They can withstand stronger winds. They're generally made of glass or some sort of equivalent strength material. They are more expensive, but again, much stronger and much more stable. They're again constructed with aluminum frames, usually heavier than the screen framed enclosures because they have to support those glass panels throughout. The roof is generally not the heavier glass. You don't necessarily want to put that on the roof. There are lighter materials such as the polycarbonate Lexan that's still transparent, but it's much stronger and it's also much safer. It won't break as easily. Especially in the South, and if you live near the Gulf Coast, you're going to have high winds, and what's going to keep your pool enclosure from just blowing away? Do you have to pick it up if a storm's coming by? And you shouldn't. The weight and strength of the enclosure generally makes it difficult for at least the minor winds to move it. If you're in a high wind area along the coast, or even throughout the South, there are strong storms that come through from time to time. You're going to have to do some things to tie your structure down to the ground to make it more firm. The enclosure will be braced to its surroundings. The bracing is designed to ensure that the winds from any direction can be withstood. There's different options for bracing: steel cables, diagonal braces to the roof, whatever's required and whatever's available depending on the location of the enclosure with respect to your house and in your yard. If your pool and you have a deck is being built at the same time that you're building your enclosure, then it can all be incorporated into one design, and those braces will just be incorporated and probably will not be as noticeable. However, if you're adding the enclosure later, everything's already designed. We'll do our best to make sure that they're not noticeable, but they're not going to be quite as transparent as they would be if the design was done all at the same time. I hope I answered some of your common questions. If you have any more, please contact us. We do service, as I mentioned, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. If you have a project in mind, you can give us a call, check out our website, or send us an email. We will provide you with a free estimate. We'll go through what your requirements are and then come up with a custom solution to meet your needs and your budget. We make recommendations based on how much you have to put into the project. So we want you to feel comfortable with that and get the enclosure that you need. So feel free to call us or check out our website at theallproenclosures.com. And thank you.